Welcome to another Luck Scout bedtime story. The Wind and the Willow. In a quiet valley surrounded by rolling hills and tall ancient trees, there stood a single willow tree at the edge of a peaceful stream. The tree was strong yet graceful, with long, sweeping branches that swayed gently in the wind. The villagers who lived nearby often came to the stream to rest, finding peace beneath the willow's shade. They marveled at how the tree seemed to dance with the wind, its branches bending but never breaking, no matter how strong the gusts. There was a young man in the village named Soren, who spent most of his days rushing through life trying to accomplish as much as possible. He was constantly busy, always working on something new, always trying to prove himself. But no matter how hard he worked, he felt restless, like there was something missing. He couldn't understand how others found peace so easily when he was always struggling to keep up with life. One day, feeling particularly overwhelmed, Soren walked to the stream and sat beneath the willow tree. He watched as the wind picked up, causing the tree's branches to sway gracefully, the leaves rustling softly. No matter how hard the wind blew, the willow never resisted. Instead, it bent and swayed with the breeze, moving in harmony with the world around it. Soren frowned, puzzled by the tree's calm. How can it stand so strong even in the wind, he wondered aloud. I work so hard to stand firm, and yet I feel like I'm constantly being pushed off balance. Just then a gentle breeze swept through the valley, and in its whisper, Soren thought he heard a voice. The secret lies not in resisting the wind, but in learning to move with it. Startled, Soren looked around, but no one was there. The wind, however, continued to blow softly, and the branches of the willow swayed in response. As he watched the tree move, Soren began to understand the lesson it was trying to teach him. For so long, he had been trying to stand firm against the challenges of life, thinking that strength meant resisting anything that tried to push him off course. But the willow tree didn't resist the wind. It embraced it, bending and swaying with each gust, yet remaining rooted and strong. Perhaps, Soren thought, he had been approaching life all wrong. Maybe true strength wasn't about fighting against what life brought, but about learning to move with it, just like the willow. Feeling calmer than he had in a long time, Soren leaned back against the tree's trunk, its bark warm from the sun. He closed his eyes and let the wind brush gently against his face. For the first time, he allowed himself to relax, to stop resisting the flow of life around him. And in that moment, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. As the days passed, Soren began to spend more time by the willow tree, watching the way it responded to the changing weather. When the wind blew, it swayed. When the rain fell, it drank deeply. When the sun shone, it basked in the warmth. The tree accepted whatever came its way without resistance, adapting to the natural flow of life around it. Soren decided to take the lessons he learned from the willow and apply them to his own life. Instead of fighting against the challenges and changes he faced, he began to move with them, trusting that he could adapt and grow through each experience. He no longer felt the need to rush or prove himself, realizing that life wasn't a race, but a journey to be experienced fully with all its ups and downs. And just like the willow, Soren found that by bending with the wind, he became stronger, more resilient. The restlessness that had once plagued him began to fade, replaced by a quiet sense of calm and acceptance. One afternoon, as Soren sat beneath the willow, an elderly woman from the village approached him. She had seen the change in Soren over the past few weeks and was curious. "You seem different," she said. "You used to be always rushing, always working, but now you seem at peace." "What changed?" Soren smiled and gestured to the willow tree beside him. "I learned from the willow," he said. "I used to think that strength meant standing firm and resisting anything that tried to push me off course. But the willow taught me that true strength is about flexibility. It's about moving with life rather than fighting against it." The elderly woman nodded thoughtfully, understanding the wisdom in his words. "The willow is wise," she agreed, "and so are you for learning its lesson. Life will always bring challenges, but those who bend with the wind will never break." As the sun began to set over the valley, casting a warm golden glow over the stream and the willow tree, Soren sat quietly reflecting on his journey. He had learned that life wasn't about being unshakable or immovable. It was about learning to move with grace, to accept the changes and challenges that came his way, and to trust in his own ability to adapt and grow. He had found peace not by standing firm against the wind, but by learning to sway with it. As you lie in your bed tonight, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think of the willow tree by the stream. Let the worries and stresses of your day flow away like the wind moving through the branches. Remember that true strength lies not in resisting life, but in moving with it, accepting its flow, and trusting in your own resilience. Let the calm of acceptance fill your heart, and know that like the willow you can weather any storm with grace.